Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are cracking open a celestial forecast that is, well, it's so enthusiastic it's practically shouting at us. We're plunging headfirst into the 2026 astrological predictions for Leo, specifically this idea that it's going to be their biggest year for money.
It's a huge claim. I mean, the source material we're looking at says the year is literally painted gold for Leos.
Painted gold. Wow.
Yeah. So our mission today isn't just to, repeat the hype. We need to actually unpack the celestial mechanics behind it.
Right.
What specific planetary movements are supposedly driving this really intense, lucrative prediction?
Exactly. What cosmic levers are being pulled that suggest Leos will finally stop feeling undervalued and, as the source puts it, secure the bag?
Yes.
We're going past the hype to the house.
Sure.
So let's start with the primary engine mentioned in the forecast, the North Node.
Okay, let's ground this for everyone listening. The North Node isn't a planet. It's a mathematical point in the sky.
A point that talks about our karmic path, right? Our soul's purpose.
Precisely. It shows where we need to focus our energy for growth. It's the path of, let's say, least resistance toward real fulfillment.
So if that's the point of destiny, where is it sitting for Leos in 2026? What area of life is it lighting up?
For Leos, the North Node is moving through Pisces, and that places it squarely in their 8th house.
The 8th house. Okay.
And that is a crucial financial placement. The 8th house is, well, it's notoriously complex. It deals with deep transformation, sex, death, debt.
And shared resources.
And shared resources, yes.
Which is why the source calls it the other people's money axis, isn't it?
That's the one. In financial astrology, the 8th house is all about resources that are shared or external to your immediate paycheck.
So we're talking about things like big investments, maybe venture capital.
Inheritances, legal settlements, taxes, trusts, all of it. The North Node there points towards some kind of karmic resolution in that very sensitive area.
And the source gets really specific. It lists 3 potential outcomes.
It does.
Inheritances, settlements, or massive returns on investments that were made a long time ago. That is a very particular kind of financial gain.
It is. And this is where the deep dive really comes in. Because the 8th house is activated, the money isn't just, a bonus check.
Right.
It's likely coming through these established, sometimes very complex structures. Maybe finalizing an estate, winning a significant legal battle, or seeing a huge payout from a retirement fund.
So that's the aha moment for you if you're a Leo listening. The big money might not come from just working more hours at your job.
Exactly. It's wealth that's already been generated and is now coming home to you, often after a long wait.
But you mentioned the 8th house is complex. It's emotional.
And we have to acknowledge that. It rules emotional merging and deep debt. And not just financial debt. Psychological, too.
So these gains, they don't arrive without some strings attached.
They rarely arrive without some kind of transformation. Securing this financial bag might mean navigating the emotional weight of an inheritance or the stress of a settlement. It's powerful, but it's not always painless.
Okay, so the foundation is claiming what's due through these complex channels. Let's shift a bit. Let's move from where the money comes from to how a Leo is supposed to approach it.
Philosophically, you mean?
Yes. The source brings in Saturn and Neptune.
This is where we get into the wisdom part of the equation. We have 2 very different energies moving into Aries.
Which for a Leo is their 9th house.
Their 9th house, the house of higher learning, philosophy, your worldview, long-distance travel.
So let's break down these 2 planets for a second. Saturn is
the great taskmaster. Structure, discipline, responsibility. It forces you to get serious and build things that last.
And Neptune.
Neptune is the total opposite, in a way. It's idealism, dreams, spirituality. It dissolves boundaries. Can sometimes bring confusion, too.
So you're putting structure next to idealism in the house of philosophy. What does that actually look like for a Leo?
The outcome the source highlights is that the Leo is not just getting rich, you are getting wise. Saturn's presence stops Neptune's idealism from just being a fantasy. It forces the Leo to build a solid, mature philosophy around their wealth. They're building a structure, that's Saturn, for their big, visionary ideas about what money should do. That's Neptune.
That feels like a really necessary grounding element for a prediction that's painted gold. It means the money won't just be wasted.
The perspective has shifted.
But there's also this layer of celestial safety, right?
Yeah.
Jupiter entering Cancer in the 12th house. What's that doing?
Right, so Jupiter is the great benefactor. It's the planet of expansion, luck, protection. It magnifies everything it touches.
But the 12th house is tricky territory. It's hidden things, the subconscious self-undoing.
It is. It's a strange place for the planet of luck.
So why would a Leo need protection there if they're already getting so wise and structured? It feels like the money should be safe.
That's the key question. When Jupiter is in the 12th, it acts like a cosmic shield in the unseen realms.
Unseen realms.
It expands your protection into areas that usually trip you up. Your blind spots, self-sabotage, or, as the source puts it, hidden enemies.
Which might not even be actual people, right? It could be hidden legal problems or just subconscious fears about having wealth.
Exactly, hidden pitfalls. So you combine the windfall from the 8th house, the wisdom from the 9th, and then you add Jupiter in the 12th.
And you get what the source promises. Angels watching over your bank account this year.
That's the synthesis. It suggests that this massive financial potential won't be easily sabotaged, either by you or by something you can't see coming. It's like having a high-powered insurance policy on the whole operation.
Okay, this is all setting the stage. Let's get to the main event because it's happening in Leo's own sign.
A personal driver.
This is where it gets really interesting. The Mars retrograde in Leo, summer of 2026. Retrogrades are usually feared. Mars, the planet of action, going backward. That sounds frustrating. So why is this one being framed as a good thing?
This really does flips the usual retrograde narrative on its head. Mars is our drive, our energy, how we go after what we want.
So a retrograde, a backward motion, sounds like hitting the brakes. Hard.
It can feel that way. But because this is happening in Leo, their sign of identity and creativity, it's described not as a slowdown, but as a total energetic reboot.
A reboot.
It forces a Leo to reassess their personal goals and, crucially, how they fight for them. They aren't moving backward, they're recalibrating the engine.
So it's not about external frustration, it's about a mandatory period of deep internal review. Am I fighting for the right things? Am I asserting my value in the right way?
Precisely. The source suggests this reboot is exactly what provides the stamina and the corrected focus to just crush those goals once Mars moves direct again. The stagnation is actually preparation.
And this personal reassessment ties directly back into the money theme.
Absolutely. The source explicitly says that the creative talents that get highlighted and refined during this retrograde can be monetized in a huge way.
So the personal value they rediscover over the summer connects to a real lucrative outcome later in the year.
Yes, it's a direct link.
Which brings us to some very blunt advice in the source material. I mean, it's almost a command. Do not give away your work for free.
That phrase is the centerpiece of the whole thing. It's a mandate. Align your personal, creative worth with your financial reality.
You are a Leo, you are royalty.
And 2026 is the year that your bank account has to match that identity. It's about setting boundaries and demanding what you're worth.
Okay, we've covered the gold, the wisdom, the protection, the reboot. It sounds almost too perfect, which means there has to be a catch.
There's always a watch out.
A point of friction. What's the one major area of conflict mentioned?
The friction comes from Pluto, a very intense energy. Pluto is the planet of deep transformation, power, control, elimination.
And for Leos, Pluto is in Aquarius, which is their 7th house.
The 7th house. And let's be clear, that's not just about romantic love. It's the house of the other.
All partnership.
All partnerships. Romantic, marriage, and critically for this forecast, business partnerships and legal contracts.
So Pluto there forces a deep transformation of how you relate to other people.
Yes, and it often leads to confrontations about control and power. So while money might be pouring in from the 8th house, the very partnerships you need to manage it are under intense pressure.
The predicted outcome being that power dynamics in all partnerships are going to shift.
Radically. With all this new money on the table, a partner might feel threatened. Or they might want a bigger piece of the pie. Pluto will expose any weak foundation in a relationship.
So if you're a Leo listening and you're in business with someone, what's the one thing the source says you absolutely must do?
The advice is unambiguous.
Yeah.
It's very practical. Make sure the contracts are tight.
Just get it in writing.
All of it. The financial transformation has to be legally secured because that's where the power struggles will play out.
But let me challenge that for a second. If you're dealing with a Mars retrograde forcing an internal reboot, and you're dealing with Pluto creating relationship drama, isn't that just going to drain all your energy?
It's a very fair point, but the source actually addresses that head on. It says that while there is definite potential for draining relationship drama,
Okay.
the overall financial potential from all the other transits is so huge that it outweighs the drama.
So the reward is worth the risk.
It's a year of high risk and even higher reward. The money is significant enough to make navigating those tricky waters worthwhile.
That gives you a very complete map for 2026 then. Let's do a quick recap.
Let's do it.
So takeaway number one, the big money potential comes through shared resources, investments, the North Node and the 8th house.
Second, it's not just about getting the money. Saturn and Neptune in the 9th house are about building true financial wisdom around it, a real philosophy.
Third, Jupiter in the 12th acts like your celestial bodyguard, protecting your assets from hidden problems or self-sabotage.
And finally, that big one. The Mars retrograde in your own sign is an energetic reset that allows you to monetize your creativity in a huge way.
It's about getting paid like royalty.
Exactly. The whole year is about aligning that personal worth with your financial reward.
Agreed. And that brings us to our final thought. Given that the source stresses so heavily that Leos must get paid like royalty, demanding their full worth, it leaves one question for you to explore on your own. What is the true cost? Not in dollars, but in your own potential and fulfillment of undervaluing your own work, regardless of what the planets are doing. That's something for you to mull over until our next deep dive.